have to endure military checkpoints almost as if they lived under a foreign occupation. The only successful part of the Cuban economy, the tourism sector, is off limits to ordinary Cubans. There's literally a wall separating the Cuban people from the beaches, where the mostly Canadian tourists have the white sand all to themselves. On the other side of the wall, the people have nothing. Oh, I guess it'll be on that side of the wall with the tourists where we'll have the Taco Bells and the Marriotts. Access to information is completely controlled, so that the only sources of news are the 8-page Communist Party newspaper, Granma, the youth branch of the Communist Party's newspaper, whatever, or the government news stations. The resort areas, at least, have access to CNN. Well, there you go, the Communist News Network. Although when I was there for 3 days, he writes, all CNN talked about 24 hours a day was the missing Malaysian airliner, so I had to continue to rely on the Communist newspapers. There were even separate medical facilities. Listen, because Obama just praised the education and medical advances of Cuba. You moron. You moron, Obama. That's correct. The clinics for foreigners were absolutely pristine. I did not get to visit a clinic or a hospital for the Cuban people, but the conditions were indicated to me by a nurse who asked if we had extra bed sheets to spare because they were dealing with an outbreak of cholera, a disease that had not been seen in Cuba for over a century. On our way, no doubt about it. According to the Obama administration itself, in the person of Susan Rice, responding to one of the routine outbursts from the Cuban delegation in the UN in 2009, quote, she said, I must address two significant distortions in the Cuban position. First, my delegation regrets that the delegation from Cuba continues to label inappropriately and incorrectly U.S. trade restrictions on Cuba as an act of genocide. Second, it's erroneous to charge the U.S. sanctions are the cause of deprivation among the Cuban people. The U.S. maintains no restriction on humanitarian aid to Cuba. In fact, the U.S. is a major source of humanitarian assistance to the Cuban people and the largest provider of food to Cuba. Well, how come Obama didn't say this today? Oh, he didn't want to upset his host, Raul. Nobody wants to upset Raul. This prompts the question, what good will lifting the restrictions do if it's unable to breach the apartheid system the Cuban government has built between itself and the Cuban people? It's a very good question. Barack Milhouse, Benito Obama, very good question, but nobody will be able to question it. Because this is historic. It's historic. No prior president dare do what Obama, such a commanding leader. We've never had such a magnificent president. And of course, as we all know, Che Guevara, the murdering genocidal maniac, who Castro had sent to Bolivia because he knew he'd be executed there, and then let the people know he's over there. So the Bolivian government took him down. Che Guevara was a racist, and the Castro brothers are racists. See, they don't like black Cubans. No, they don't. They don't like black Cubans. And there's Barack Obama. He knows this. He knows more about Cuba than the rest of us. He gets intel from the CIA and everybody else. Obama doesn't care. Not a whit. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't about the Cuban people for Obama. Obama believes he's above everyone and above it all, that he's God's gift. He idolizes himself. He idolizes himself. He looks in the mirror and he says, today, Cuba. Another thing on my list.